good.
Beautiful. Perfect.
Awesome. Wonderful. Hey, welcome to another edition of Eating Soup Alone, the podcast where we always do this. We always do an introduction. I'm Chris.
And I'm Nick.
Yeah.
Chris.
What do you got for me?
Swear to God.
Yeah.
Cross my heart. Hope to die.
Yeah.
My cold open was going to be, we should try doing intros.
Yeah. You know? And in this one, you know how I'm going to intro it? I already told you. You know. You don't have to play dumb.
Gotcha, okay.
I just feel so impassioned about something. Recently found a YouTuber, Dr. Wolfula. Check it out. If you like MST3K, if you like, Cinemassacre's Monster Madness, if you like Red Letter Media, it's kind of a combination of all that. Horror host of old with a kind of a new twist in the sense of being, a little offbeat, little funny as fuck. What can I say? I love it. Not going to go on much longer. I'm also imploring you, Nick Johnson, as a fan of Halloween Kills. My man has an hour-long video for each of those films. And guess what? Halloween Kills is his favorite Halloween sequel.
Oh, love it.
And he spends most of the video acknowledging, he's like, this is awful, this is horrible, these narrative plots don't, work well, it definitely should have been, this should have been in the first movie, this should have been in the first movie, this makes things lopsided, especially if you're not, a fan who's seen most of the movies. Why even indulge in this whole, flashback to the 70s, and if you're going to do it, why not do it in the first movie, since these are all characters that were introduced in the first movie and didn't exist in the 1978 version.
Great point.
But, at the same time, he's also, as a huge fan of the Halloween thing, though, the recreation is beautiful. And
Love it.
He talks a lot about how, respectfully they handled it in the sense of everything happens in the periphery of the original one, so it has it's just this movie just has, an incredible reverence for the original, because it literally does not touch the original. When
Absolutely.
they flash back, it happens, 2 steps to the left. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I've mentioned this a couple of times, that, the 2018 one has grown on me as time has passed and stuff. But that kind of made me want to rewatch the 2020, fucking whatever the fuck year that one came out in again.
2020.
22?
No, because I think, didn't Halloween Ends be it's basically the pandemic. So, no, it would have been 2020, because I watched it on Peacock, I remember, while
But
it was
I saw it
in
in the
theaters.
theater.
Yeah, while I watched it on Peacock.
Probably 2021.
So, yeah,
Gotta be
2021 sounds right, yeah.
Anywho, yeah, Dr. Wolfula. Big thumb up.
Shout out to Dr. Wolfula.
Yeah. Check it out.
Check it out. But in the meantime,
Check us out.
Check us out. Here's a theme song.
That's perfect. Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week. Look at us. We killed the intro.
Beautiful.
Much like Longlegs, didn't necessarily kill anybody. This is obviously going to be very spoiler-filled.
Debatable. This week we're talking about
Longlegs.
A Spy Who Loved Me.
A Spy Who Loved Me.
Who Loved Me.
The Spy Who Loved Me.
We're talking about Saw 7, the
7.
final chapter in 3D.
Yes.
And luckily, Longlegs.
And there's a Chris Rock Saw coming soon.
Yeah, that's
in the
right.
chronology, yeah. Well, we should probably front load it with Longlegs for people who want to.
I would love to.
Yeah,
I would love to.
Yes. You said something to me in the theater that I was unaware of, but now I've become very aware of. You said that you had heard a bunch of hype that this movie's viscerally upsetting, and then after seeing the film, I've seen a lot of discussion online of people just being like, yeah, overhyped? Boo. And then I've seen a lot of people that I respect just being like, hey, I heard there was some hype, but I didn't buy into it, and then I saw this movie, and it's really good. So if you just don't go in hyped, you're going to enjoy this. But if you buy into the hype, you're probably not going to enjoy it, because that's just how hype works.
Yeah, that always really grinds my gears.
Yeah.
Is when A, people hype up a movie, and then B, people don't like a movie because it was hyped up.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, are you a chimp or a small child? No, use your own brain. Fucking, it makes me so bad. It's like, this movie's bad because everybody hyped it up. It's like, no, you're saying this movie's bad because you're A dummy.
I had no expectations. I did not know what this movie was. I did not know what it was about at all. I had no idea that it was an FBI thing. I'm going to start off with my only real criticism. I only really have one criticism. The rest of the movie's great. It's kind of like a thing that's been going on for a while, and it's not always a big deal, but I kind of just wish it would stop. I feel like everything's in this art housey. Anytime anything like is on the art house end of the spectrum, I feel like a lot of the dialogue or some of the characters will kind of have this Shinji from Neon Genesis kind of like way of just speaking, or like Driver from the movie Drive, like we're just like people are just like, detective, I think I need to put you on this case, and those be like, okay,
yeah.
Like the main character does that thing where it's like, what is going on? Just, I'm not trying to be mean or whatever, but like, what's wrong with her just being like, yes sir, like, or whatever, or like, yes ma'am, of course, or like, oh yeah, I'm actually having a weird day, but like. For some reason, a lot of art house movies over the last like 10, 15 years have had like main characters that are like on that like Drive shit of just like
autism.
Yeah, for some reason everybody wants to do that. I don't. But what I'm trying to say is it's like this thing of like they think it. In my opinion, it seems like they think it makes it like dramatic or like more heavy and stuff like that. And it's like, no, there are other ways to write a character. There are other ways to act a character. You know, you don't always have to be you don't have to do the Shinji thing. I don't know why Shinji just the.
I agree and I disagree with you at the same time.
Sure. Fair.
Because, yeah.
You think it works here, you're saying?
It does and it doesn't. That's why I'm agreeing and disagreeing with you.
Okay.
Because...
Really like that fence, huh?
I really do. I think her having that edge to her, not edge, but I mean that like, you know, I mean, I don't think I'm out of pocket for saying it. She's very clearly like autistic coded.
That's what they're going for, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at that.
And I think that's fine, and I think it really separates her from Clarice from Silence of the Lambs.
But all I'm saying is like that's not the only type of autism. Why
exactly.
is it always the
exactly.
one? Why is it always the one?
Great point. And I think it might be just the easiest one to portray on film. Or,
it's like
I
cigarettes
guess,
in movies.
Here.
That's like the one that like everybody's.
And
this seems like a really inappropriate like conversation, but like if you're cutting through the bullshit, like that's what people are doing with the.
Yeah.
Writing these characters, like they're trying to go for that.
And I have seen some people theorize about this movie.
Sure.
I believe the director Osgood Perkins has said, "No, Longlegs is just a spooky word that I thought of." And that's the
only thing that kills it for me. I love it. I love Longlegs.
Yeah.
Spooky for sure. But then I think of Daddy Longlegs and it is.
I get that. Yeah.
A thumbs down.
I've heard some people like theorize online, and again, it's art, so you can take it however you want.
I love it.
So this is true and also not true at the same time. Yeah. But some people have been like, "Oh, yeah, this movie could absolutely be an allegory for CSA."
Ooh.
And Longlegs could be, you know, a term for a taller person, an adult.
Yeah.
And especially when you first see Nick Cage right at the beginning of this movie, and just the bottom half of his face is seen because he's an adult and he's taller, and all the like. Yeah.
Charlie Brown mode, and all the like, you know, oh, we're working for the devil, and I'm making the dolls, and your mom's helping me. Could be, you know, this is just somebody who sexually assaulted her, and her mother helped her, and yada yada, and that's why her and her mom have a weird relationship, and she's kind of weird as an adult. Or even not necessarily help, but just not necessarily do anything about it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I could see that being part of a spin for the way she acts.
Yeah.
So. For those reasons, and like I said, it colors her differently than it colors Clarice.
Sure.
I like, but also at the same time, getting back to agreeing with you. Don't like that every time she holds a gun in this movie, she's going. It's like, okay, I get it. You're scared. I understand. Just show me with your face and breathe a little.
Can I go full pretentious mode for a second?
I'd love you to.
My thing is just like, whatever happened to subtlety? Like, why can't that be some of her character? Why does it have to be all of her character? You get what I'm saying? Or like, you know, an example is like the Jamie Lee Curtis 2018 Halloween, where it's like, yeah, she could be a little bit like that, but why does she have to be full blown like Sarah Connor? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I get that.
Why is everything at 11? Why can't we just fuck around a little bit with like 6, and then sometimes it's like a 9, but then most of the time we're at the 6. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that. I would say
back on the fence here.
Not necessarily that this is what you were saying, but I don't think Lee Harker is on the level of all about that as Jamie Lee Curtis is.
That's fair. Just an example.
I know. I wouldn't. I didn't get the feeling that
I didn't hate
that
this.
way is her whole character. Oh yeah. No, I think we both genuinely like this movie.
Yeah, I do like this movie. I'm just gripe about movies as a whole. I feel like I see that thing a lot, where it's just like. So we start out with Mr. Longlegs. Nick Cage.
Wonderful.
Looks great. Very creepy. You don't like it?
I would say that might be a detracting part for me.
Oh, okay.
The Nick Cage is wearing a mask in this movie the whole time.
Yeah.
It's very strange. It feels like Colin Farrell in the Batman as the Penguin. I was like, oh man, I can't believe that he's unrecognizable. It's like, yeah, because he's wearing a big rubber mask of another man's face.
Yeah.
But I still think he is unsettling, and I do like that when there are flashbacks, there are, less wrinkled versions of that spooky face, so he does look like a man that ages, so I do like that.
Yeah. And I will say 4 times out of 7, if not more, I kept sitting there, much like Colin Farrell as the Penguin, I kept thinking like, man, barely can tell it's Nick Cage. I feel like he's not just doing the Nick Cage thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something we've been saying for the last few weeks. I don't think Nick Cage even has a Nick Cage thing.
So do I, but people like saying that.
Yeah.
People love saying that.
Yeah, I think the Nick Cage thing is giving it 110% all the time. Yeah.
I lost my hand. I lost my bride.
Love it.
Did we even talk about that movie yet? Did we put that out?
Moonstruck?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last week. Baby.
I couldn't remember when we did it or if we did it or not.
Yeah, we did it
I know
last
we
week.
did it, but I'm just saying I can't remember if we did it.
Have you ever seen Racing Arizona?
Yeah, it's in my top 4 on Letterboxd. Are you even a fan of my Letterboxd? Do you ever pay attention to my Letterboxd?
That was a callback to a callback to a callback, because you've asked me so many times on this podcast if I've seen Racing Arizona, and we did an episode on Racing Arizona, and you didn't remember, and you don't remember my great callback joke either? You didn't listen to this show?
A Chandelier film I had one time. I don't know if you know this or not.
Where?
Also an anvil one time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
Usually it's this coyote that does it to me. Not very fast. Just riffing. Little Looney Tunes humor for you. But
So like when the coyote's not trying to get the Roadrunner,
he's also mad at me.
He's just testing
I'm the
things
other
out
guy.
on you. That's so funny.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, that happens. Creepy scene outside the house. I like it. I'm a fan. I like that it starts small and then it gets wide and it's all like long legs.
Yeah, I was like, uh-oh, is this also going to be a square one? Am I going to
hoping.
love it?
I was
Yeah,
really
but
hoping. Yeah. But it wasn't. And yeah, we meet our Clarice Starling, Lee Harker. And I don't really think it's that Silence of the Lambsy.
No, not really.
I mean, it's like set in like what seems like 90s-ish.
Yes,
and
because
it's
there's a
FBI.
big-ass picture of Bill Clinton everywhere to let you know
you're
that
right.
it's the 90s.
Yes,
yeah.
constantly. Well, to be fair, we got a big-ass picture of JFK here.
That's true, but we are not a government organization.
That's
here.
true. Anywho, I will say definitely getting like some Silence of the Lambs for sure in that sense, but also mostly like I'd say like an episode of the X-Files that just happens to not be about Mulder and Scully is the way that I kind of felt about it a bit.
Yeah, as soon as they start to immediately they're going and searching that house, and she Barry Bonds points out into the stands where she's gonna hit the shot. And goes, it's that house right there.
Yeah.
And then that guy gets shot, and then immediately they start giving her the tests, and someone says something about her being psychic, and I went, "Ooh, is this going to be the FBI investigating the paranormal? This is my favorite thing. I love it."
Yeah, at first I was like, okay, we're going psychic direction, but I will say I also saw a lot of discourse online about people being like, movie kind of jumps the shark at the end there, just like the devil is real and magic and stuff, and it's like, I don't know. Do you remember 14 seconds into it where they established that she's a psychic?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
like,
it's
what
crazy.
are you talking about? So I don't know. I'm not, again, I don't like being Mr. Negative, but like sometimes it's a funny thing to say as a man who constantly talks about his opinion about movies. Sometimes I hear other people's opinions about movies and I'm like, what the fuck? Where am I from? Where am I from? I don't know. Like, what is this planet that I'm living on where people are just like, I don't think she should have been wearing yellow, so this is the worst movie I've ever seen. It's like, can you just try to enjoy something sometimes?
Yeah, I think it's.
I know that I'm negative about things, but like, the other thing is that like, if you're a listener to the podcast, sometimes we'll go on and on about how much we like the things we hate about a thing, but then at the end we'll be like B+.
Yeah.
Because like that's what we have like shit that we're impassioned to say about, but like at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, this is pretty good. I like this.
Yeah, I would say.
And then same thing. Sometimes we'll spend a whole time like praising something. We'll be like, as a movie though, it's like D-. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm trying to say is that like I don't think we're guilty of just being like, nah, worst thing I've ever seen. Whereas I feel like a lot of people do that kind of a thing where it's like either the best thing they've ever seen or it's just not even worth anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would like to say that I'm semi-proud of being like, I can still appreciate a bunch of shit about a movie that I'm like, objectively it's probably a D. Or vice versa, I can find a bunch of flaws in a movie that I'm like, this is kind of an A-, but It's corny.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely disregard this conversation in 20 minutes. We start talking about Saw 7. But, yeah, no, exactly. I love...
Disregard this when we immediately put our foot in our mouth.
That's why I like doing the show. That's why I especially like talking about movies with you, is because you and I can watch, even if, Ghost Rider's not that good. Yeah. There's that part where he's listening to the Cranberries and watching a monkey on TV, and that shit's great,
It's pretty good.
Just even little stuff like that, where it's like,
pretty good.
Well, I didn't like the last 15 minutes of Longlegs, so really jumps the shark, don't watch it. It's like,
But otherwise, generally, I'll just say movie looks good.
Looks great, yeah. I love, to quote a guy sitting next to us in the theater talking to his date after they got up, I love how everything was in the middle the whole time. They just ignore the rule of thirds. It's just in the middle. And so I love that there's always a doorway for you to be looking into to see if something's happening, or a staircase that somebody could be
I
coming
will
down.
say, I love the frame shots, especially like the one where she's in her little cabin.
Yeah.
Like the whole time, I'm like, dude, something's coming.
I saw this movie a second time.
Yeah.
And so I was really looking there instead.
Yeah.
During the whole movie. There are quite a few times where, like, especially that part where she's in her cabin.
Yeah.
When she gets that letter on her desk, then it cuts to end of chapter, and then it cuts back to her, and she's opening it. When she's opening it, the devil is standing in the doorway behind her.
Oh.
But he's just like 2 shades darker than the black in there. And then, like, when she's in the library and she looks out the window, he's like way far out there and kind of blends into the mist, and then just pops out of frame. Yeah. And I think the last one I noticed is there's that shot of Nick Cage or Longlegs sitting in the basement in that red light. Yeah. And then it like cuts to like the opposite view of the basement that he's looking at. Yeah. There's just a bunch of shit, and I don't know how they're doing it, because it's like a blinking and miss it type thing, but the devil's there too, but he just kind of always blends in with everything. He's just a big black shadowy figure with like these big ram's horns on him.
I'll say a couple of things really quick. Satan's back, I feel like. I've just been thinking about like the last, like 7 to 10 years of just like Hereditary and The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and I'm thinking of this movie, and I'm thinking of hang on, let me look at where I wrote this down at.
These 2 people we can see outside walking in all black when it's 90 degrees outside.
But I'm also thinking of like Maxine. We just saw Maxine, and that had to do with like the whole Satanism. I guess more so than like the devil being back. Like I guess also like satanic panic stuff is back. It's just interesting that like horror movies have such a focus on like Satanism and the devil right now. I wonder what that is going to be in a couple of years when people start talking about. You know what I'm saying? Late Night with the Devil also.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I could keep going on and on, but all I'm trying to say is that like. Just that thing of like how like slashers get big and then like ghost movies get big. I feel like we're kind of in a little bit of a devil era right now,
I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Pause real quick.
Is that
a 1-2?
A 1-2, a 1-2, a 1-2, a 1-2.
Oh yeah, now you're way too loud.
Okay.
So we're good. I'll just lower you a little bit.
Okay.
And now we should be good to go.
Sounds good. So yeah, that was one thing, and then another thing is I don't know if you saw the movie Talk to Me.
Is that the one with the hand?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Well, spoilers for Talk to Me. There's a point where one of the characters becomes possessed, and they do what Longlegs does to himself in that interrogation room.
Oh, really?
That was another weird coincidence where I was like, man,
wow,
interesting.
Brutal, gnarly.
Very brutal and gnarly in both films. Maybe a little more upsetting in Talk to Me, honestly. But
yeah, I can see that.
Mainly because it's a child.
Oh.
It's like the main character's like little brother or something. So it's kind of hereditary coded. And like, he spends the rest of the movie in like a coma, and like her parents are mad at her or whatever. Like, hey, dude, how'd you let this happen to your little brother? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So something like that.
Yeah, there have been a few people I've talked about this movie that like aren't into like horror movies or anything like that.
Sure.
That have been talking. It's like, well, you like Criminal Minds, so you'd probably like this movie. It's not bad. It's pretty good, but also, and then I think about it, I'm like, there is one part though that's pretty upsetting.
Very upsetting.
Yeah.
But yeah, you meet her mom, and things are weird, and there's that room you can't go into, and I actually genuinely did like the twist that basement is just Longlegs is where he lives. I like that.
Yeah, but I, like her at the beginning, Barry Bonds called my shot and was just like, oh, Longlegs is in the basement. That's what that means, because he's always talking about, oh, it's the man downstairs. And even, like, when they have him...
I thought it was a lame way to refer to the devil, but then eventually, now I'm like, okay, cool. I'm
downstairs from where? Everywhere. But when they have Longlegs at the FBI, and they're like, she's like, where's he now? And she's like, he's downstairs right below your feet. And I'm like, yeah, he's downstairs. He's
always downstairs.
He lives downstairs at your mom's house. I understand. I get it. Yeah. I don't mean to say that so dismissively, like, yeah, I get it, but I was just like, yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
And then another thing is the twist with the mom being involved kind of reminded me of Maxine's twist, spoilers, of like it being the dad that's working with the devil or whatever, working against the devil or whatever you want to say. But, so the only thing that was a little odd for me a little bit is like the doll maker thing, where it's like, for me it was a little bit of like Keebler Elf territory where I was like, doll maker? Is that... When is this? Yeah, the 70s? Doll maker?
Dolls were weird, yeah.
Yeah.
But when it came back to that person talking about it being an allegory for CSA and the child version of yourself being able to keep those memories trapped in that steel ball inside your head and stuff like that, it's like, no, I'm not trying to dunk on it. I'm just saying it's so weird. Weird. I'm dunking on it a little bit. It's a little weird, yeah.
It's a little weird.
Yeah.
But, so basically the twist ends up being that she gets into the house, brings the doll. The doll's got a little bit of the devil in it, and then the devil's influence is what's able to convince the dad to kill the whole family.
Yeah.
And he loves T-Rex.
Can't get enough.
Just like his character loves the Carpenters in Ghost Rider.
Can't get enough. You're right, this movie is like a lot of other movies.
Well, I think maybe also another thing to keep in mind maybe is that I think we might be entering the era of have seen hundreds of movies.
Yeah, so, great point. You
know what I mean?
There are only so many stories.
Yeah, but I think I'm cresting on 500 on Letterboxd there.
Wow. Impressive.
Like 480 or something.
I only remember to log things on the Letterboxd if I do them for this show.
I always remember.
Yeah. It's a weird brag, but all right.
I'm on there.
Just kidding. I think the doll thing is interesting, and her mom being part of it is interesting too, because they keep talking about, like, he must have an accomplice, and it must be someone that the family trusted, that they let willingly come inside the house. And it turns out that she's like posing as a nun and going, congrats, you won a competition from the local church and we have a present for you. And they go, cool, awesome, come on in and show it to us.
It's a doll replica of your daughter.
If someone from the church that I didn't go to showed up to my house and said, you won a raffle and the prize is a life-size doll of your daughter, that is not someone I willingly let inside of my house.
Yeah.
And hey, maybe the devil's already got my brain at that point, but also at the same time I was like, that's the scariest thing in the whole movie. It's like the Blair Witch. It's like best case scenario.
Yeah.
You're stuck in the woods. Yeah. That's scary enough.
Yeah.
Best case scenario for this family, someone at this church I don't go to knows 1-to-1 what my daughter looks like.
Yeah, couple of things. One, I'm gonna pivot just to talk about the Blair Witch for a second because I've watched Mr. fucking Dr. Wolfila's review about it. Yeah, again, I know we've talked about it already for the podcast and I love it so much, but that's the thing is, like, you don't see diddly dick in that movie.
Yeah.
So it's all your imagination.
That's all.
It could just be they're incompetent and scared. It could be that whole theory, which I'm sure you've heard of, that the two guys lured her out there. It could be anything. And it's so scary.
I think it's the only time that really works for me. It's just like, ooh, you don't know. Because every time I've seen another movie where it's like, ooh, you don't know.
Well, I think there's shades of don't know, but I'll hear you out.
Yeah, every time it's what you just said threw me for a loop, and there was no reason for it to, because I have nothing to be like, well, you just said that, and my brain went, well, think about that for a second. I went,
sorry.
No, he's just right. I have nothing else to say about that.
I was just going to say, like, the perfect example is, like, the whole thing with Halloween is, like, you don't know why Michael Myers does it, but then we both agree that Halloween, the Rob Zombie one, tries to go, no, it's because his parents are white trash. And you're like, well, that's worse that you know now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. We're like, there's shades of it where it's like, yeah, you know it's Michael Myers, but also you don't know why he's doing it, and that makes it scary. But then the Rob Zombie one is like, this is why he's doing it, and you're like, well, no, I don't like that as much.
Yes, exactly. And I think the specific shade of Blair Witch, the specific shade of not knowing witches, is something really happening.
Yeah.
I think never works as well as it does in the Blair Witch.
Sure.
Because, yeah, all those things are possible, and it's all very scary, but also at the same time, oh, God, after the first guy goes missing, and it's the next night, and you hear him in the woods going, help, help, and one of them goes, that's not Mark, or whatever his name is. It's like, oh, that's the scariest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. There's Josh, Heather, and Mike.
Oh, I was so close.
You were close.
Yeah, it's great.
Anyways, back to, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, it'd be very suspect for me. None comes to the door. First of all, because... I'm not trying to be closed-minded, but, I'm thinking of everywhere I've ever lived, and I, in real life, have never seen a nun.
Yeah, me neither.
So, what the fuck already? High alert. Super high alert. Second off, yes. Let's just say, hypothetically, even if I go to that church, this man, or someone, I'm assuming it's a man, has made an exact replica doll of my daughter. What the fuck? I mean, best case, I go there once a week on Saturday or Sunday or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How has he got that good of a... Second off, worst case, I don't go there. And, I mean, even before that, the prize, just being a doll generally that's life-size is already kind of... But anyway, so that's all well and good, and, it is a creepy... I do like... Because, something I... While I might not... I agree with you that I might not entirely agree with the answer to how they get inside. I do like that it plays on a couple of true crime staples. In real life, there's genuinely a couple of cases where it's we don't know how motherfucker got in the house. I'm thinking of John Benet Ramsey. I'm thinking of there's the fucking what's that Hinterkaifeck farm type shit, or the same thing that happened in Kansas about the same time or whatever, where it's just every door and window is locked and there's no sign of forced entry, and an entire family got axed to death, and it's only...
Yeah, I would say that's... To be one of those guys, I would say I think that's what's disappointing about this movie at first.
Yeah.
Is that, I think that initial mystery of it's been 10 times in 30 years, there's never any sign of forced entry. They kill him with a hammer from the garage or a knife from the kitchen.
Which is great.
It seems like the dad does it every single time. But there's these notes left by Longlegs, which means it has to be the same person every time, and we just don't know what's happening here. And for the answer to basically be it's a ghost.
Yeah.
It's oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't mind it, but I think I would have generally preferred there to be a little more mystery.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think for me personally, I get the CSA thing, but taking that off the plate for a second. Yeah, him being a doll maker and the nun to get inside, if none of that was in there and it was still ambiguous, but the mom copped to helping and it still was how is it happening though?
Yeah.
I might have liked that more. But
yeah, I guess
still do like the movie though. So anyways, eventually Lee Harker gets hip to all this. She's hipped to what's going on. She's hip to her mom being involved in all that shit.
Why doesn't she tell her boss that Longlegs left a note for her?
Why?
That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah, I don't have an answer. It's genuinely a thing that I was equally frustrated about. I was why wouldn't you just be Longlegs left a note for me? But I think me personally, I'm chalking it up to again, not trying to be a dick, but I'm chalking it up to general the modern flavor of art house is just it makes it more tense if she doesn't, and it's but you need a reason. She can't just do, you know what I'm saying? Why is she doing that? What is her motivation for not showing him? You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I feel a lot of this, the mystery or not mystery. Yeah, I guess mystery. A lot of the investigation ramps up to the point where I think, she gets that letter. Here, let's view it from her boss's point of view. He puts her on this case. She starts telling him her theories, yada yada. She shows up eventually at one of the crime scenes and goes, "Hey, I figured out the cipher, the pattern." He goes, "How'd you do that?" She goes, I look long enough."
Yeah.
He goes, "Okay." And then they go and see that woman in the asylum. It turns out that Longlegs showed up and put her name down. Mm-hmm. It's okay. And then I can't remember exactly why the captain does it, but he ends up looking her up.
Yeah.
And putting it together that her mom called the police on her 9th birthday, which also happens to be on the 14th. And he goes, "You need to go ask your mom because this is way too big of a coincidence." And then she goes and sees her mom. That spooky shit happens where she finds the picture that she took of him when she was a kid and gives it to the captain and goes, here, I have a picture of him.
Oh, this is great.
It's great. Turns out he showed up at my house and I have a picture of him.
And then why not just be like, also, he left a letter at my house?
Also, he left a letter at my house. You can say that. You can even not say that. As the captain of the FBI, I'm pretty sure he's not a captain, but I'm going to keep calling him captain.
FBI captain.
You, the FBI captain, get that picture because your detective says, oh, yeah, I met this guy as a child because he tried to maybe kidnap me, and I took a picture of him.
But real quick, he gets sassy. He goes, like, we're going to put an all-point bulletins out on this? And it's like, yeah, bitch, who the fuck else looks like that? Put that picture everywhere.
Exactly.
You shitting me? What do you mean? Well, we're going to put out an APB on this? Yeah, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Show me 2 people who look like that. You fucking can't.
Exactly. You get your detective, your lead detective gives you that picture and goes, oh yes, I've been intimately involved with this guy, it turns out.
Yeah.
You get that picture and you go,
you're off the case.
Great. Harker, you're off the case because you're obviously way too involved in this. Yeah.
You're a victim of this man.
And so I would say that's the only biggest leap in logic in this movie. It's just like, oh yeah, there was no way she would be on this case anymore.
But I do like all that stuff about the repressed memory and then her realizing that Longlegs and finding the picture. I mean, that's scary. I think honestly, you don't see the picture.
Yeah.
She just looks spooked at a photo, and then later on she goes, hey, I have this picture of Longlegs. And I feel like that would have been a more bone-chilling reveal if the camera was tilted in a way where you were just looking through the photos and then you saw the bottom half of like Longlegs' face just like in the beginning or something. I'd have been like, ooh.
I looked my second time. I tried to look real close at it while she's handing it to him. Yeah. And you can kind of see it from the side. And I might be wrong, but it does kind of feel like a production photo.
Nice.
Like, you know, when they do that in movies, it's like, hey, we have this photo of them at the airport. It's like, no, that's just a clip from a scene I already saw. But it does kind of look like the same framed shot, but it is his full face. But it's like, yeah, that's perfect. I would like to see. I also don't understand the hiding of his face the entire time until the interrogation scene. It feels a bit strange.
Yeah.
Because, like, they show bits and pieces of his face enough where I'm like, I know what he looks like. Anyway. Sorry. Got way off track.
That's okay. So basically, we're at the point where her mom knocks her out, right? Doesn't she drink something? What does she do? How does her mom get her knocked out? Oh, she blows the head off that doll.
Yes.
And it releases her devil influence?
Yes, and then she passes out.
Yeah.
And she wakes up in Longlegs' house.
And she's all fucked up from this point on.
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at the poster, one of the posters for the movie right now. It's her looking out the window with her hand over her mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, her mom shoots that other FBI agent in the car twice.
Yeah.
That really fucking got me. I don't know why, but I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Chris, imagine watching your mom shoot someone twice.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty effective. I'll also say that whole cabin sequence I really did like. The only thing about the cabins, it was like you said, the whole like kind of took it a little bit, but
also,
but like when you can see, you know this, one of my big fears is seeing a guy in the window at night.
Oh yeah,
and he's just out there. Yeah. She can see him out there at one point.
Yeah,
which is why she grabs her gun and goes outside.
Yeah, and imagine you have the balls to go find that person, and then they're gone. And then, scary. And then they're in the other side of the window. But also, another leap in logic for this movie. Why does Lee Harker live in a fucking log cabin?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
Looks great, love it. But also, why does she live in a log cabin?
Yeah.
And the reveal that her mom's now at the captain's house with his daughter.
Yeah. Oof. It was good.
Also, I do love that scene way earlier in the movie where he's like, congratulations, Harker. You're gonna be my wife and kid now.
Yeah.
And she goes, sir, do I have to?
Yeah.
And I love when she's the hard cut to her sitting on the kid's bed. Mm-hmm. Very funny.
Yeah.
And I love the awkward conversation between them and her.
It's good.
Do you want to come to my birthday party? Yeah, I'll be there. It's great.
But I will say, while I love that whole scene of like her, and she's like conflicted. She's like, oh my God, do I kill my mom right now? And she can hear her boss killing his husband in the kitchen and stuff. Mm-hmm. While I do love all of it, and it's tense and it's good, and I get that people have to do the dumb thing sometimes, and blah, 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 but the whole time I was just like, do something, do anything about what is happening right now. Like, do a thing. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You don't got devil influence no more. I saw the smoke go away.
Yeah, great point. I do also love, shout out to the actor who plays the captain's wife, when they're all like, you know, Stepford Wives, way too happy, fucking under the devil's trance in the living room there.
Yeah.
And he said something about like, help me find something to cut the cake. You see her like break out of it for a second and go to cry or gasp or something like that, and then stop herself.
Yeah.
It's just like, ooh, that was really, really well done. Because she like almost doesn't do anything, but like what she does do is so visceral before snapping back into her spooky, like, yeah, I'll go help you kind of stuff. Great, love it.
Yeah.
Spooky doll. What's up? What's up? What do you think is up at the end where she's out of bullets, and that's where the movie ends?
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Don't know. Didn't really stand out to me much. I was talking a little bit with some people about the end, and they had all kinds of theories about the end. And I don't, at least for my viewing pleasure, like the end didn't really like in my mind.
Yeah.
So
and that's why
I didn't really think anything of it, honestly. Like I even struggled to remember exactly. We just fade out on that or what?
Yeah, she shoots her mom. She shoots the captain.
And then she's trying to shoot the doll, and it's like click, 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 right?
Yeah, and then she goes, "Let's get out of here, Rose."
Yeah.
It's the daughter's name, and then it's over.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it doesn't stick with me. That's why it's sticking with me, and I'm trying to like grasp it. Like, well, what are they trying to tell me there? Like,
Sure.
like what are they showing me there? That she's out of bullets and she can't destroy the doll.
Yeah.
What happened? What are you telling me? I'm so at a loss. You know,
Yeah.
I got nothing.
I got nothing either.
But besides that, good movie.
Yeah.
Love when they're looking through the barn and they go upstairs and there's the two lights pouring in. I like when they first go into the barn and they're looking around with their flashlights and the camera just goes past them to the door that they just came in and you're just looking outside like all of this
Waiting
movie.
for something to happen.
And you're just
Like,
waiting.
oh my
You're like,
God,
is someone
yeah.
watching them? Am I supposed to be looking for somebody? It's great. It's just over.
Yeah.
I love when they find the metal ball from the doll. And the coroner goes, yeah, and it keeps making this weird sound when I put it against this machine. And he pushes it against it, and she's like, oh, snakes. I keep thinking about snakes for some reason.
It's good.
It's great. Good movie.
Nice B+ at least.
Don't like the girl in the mental asylum.
Hate her. You do.
I wouldn't say hate, but I feel like this movie could have been a little bit shorter and a little bit better without her.
Okay.
I don't know why. That scene rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah. She talks like that because she's never been to school or something, right?
I don't know.
Or whatever. I don't know. But it was good, though, I in the sense of, like, I liked, like, her being like, I mean, if he came here and told me to kill you with my bare hands, I would do it without even thinking about it, you know? Like, I was like, okay. So, I liked that.
Yeah. I mean, just me personally, just the way it hit me, I was like, this is going on way too long, and I get it immediately. Yeah. And I'm like, it just isn't affecting me in any way, and it just feels like it's... Okay, this is just me being a hater for the scene for some reason, but I'm like, this is just doing nothing for me.
I hear you.
But I also do love the very gay warden at the psych ward or whatever.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Do you check IDs?
No, but that's a really good idea.
isn't it? Yeah, that guy's great. So, you know what? I take it all back. It's worth it for that guy alone.
Okay. Yeah, I'm saying B+ to a light A-, but a solid B+.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw it, I probably would have given it a solid B. But now that I've seen it twice, yeah, I'm gonna give it a real soft A-.
A real soft A-. Heard. Well, up next, would you like to talk about the James Bond one?
Wait, sure.
We'll space out the horrors. Got anything to say? Is a little history with or anything like that?
Yeah.
I took extensive notes here.
Thank God.
You ready?
Ba-ba-ba-bum.
This came out when?
The Spy Who Loved Me, a 1977 James Bond film directed by Lewis Gilbert, screenplay by Christopher Wood and Richard Maibaum, based on some shit by fucking Ian Fleming, cinematography by Claude Renoir, running time 125 minutes, budget of $13.5 million, and a box office. Chris, you want to guess?
It made $210 million.
It made $185 million.
Oh, that's pretty close.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it. I mean, we're pretty deep into this now, and I just really genuinely do not like Roger Moore's James Bond. He's so boring, bland. I forget him. He does not have charisma for me or anything like that.
Yeah, this movie sucks out loud.
Yeah.
Cards on the table, perfectly honest with you. I fast forwarded through parts of this movie.
Damn.
Just did not like it. I took some notes and then was like...
I will say the deeper we get into these Roger Moores, the more that I'm looking back at the Sean Connery's like, fuck, might have not have known how good we had it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, really genuinely, if like I'm going to watch a James Bond movie so far, I'm probably going to watch anyone with Sean Connery in it. And then the one with whatever
I was gonna say
the other guy.
I do miss George Lazenby
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I've just genuinely not liked any of these Roger Moore ones even a little bit. And here's what I have written down real quick. First off, Submarine.
Hey,
We start with Submarine, right?
yeah, fucking stupid fucking technology. My Saw notes are here, but my James Bond notes are stuck on my phone. Sorry, go on.
Something's happening with Russia and other stuff.
Could be.
Something gets blown up, and they're like, how would they know to blow it up? So then I wrote down James Bond does sex with a lady before we meet him. And she doesn't want him to leave. They're like in a situation where she's like, "Don't go,
Classic.
James."
Classic.
And he's getting like beepers and shit, and he's ignoring it.
Oh no, a ticker tape comes out of his watch, which so funny to me. And she goes, "Do you have to go?" And he puts on a Ronald McDonald outfit and goes, "You got it, Toots," and then leaves.
Yeah.
He goes, "The Queen needs me."
Yeah. Then a little bit later, he kisses a lady, but she gets shot in the back.
Oh right, I
Through a
forgot about
window.
that lady from one scene. Yeah.
Then we meet the bad guy of this movie. I'm assuming this is not important who this person is. Does it have a name?
The main bad guy?
Yeah. He's sitting at a table and he feeds a lady to a shark.
I'm sure he's got a name.
And then we find out about this microfilm. We find out that there's like either the United Kingdom or Russia is transporting nuclear weapons, and somehow, Russia is able to, or somebody is able to track it, which they shouldn't be able to because it's supposed to be secret. But then the one guy who always gives James Bond his gadgets, I think, says they must be tracking it by heat or something.
yes.
The thermonuclear
His
heat
name
or
is
something.
Stromberg.
Stromberg. Then we go to the pyramids of Giza, and this piqued my interest because there's something going on, some kind of like symposium or some kind of fucking something at Giza, and then he's fighting Jaws while the crowd is reacting, and there's like music that has nothing to do with what they're doing. And then Jaws bites a lock,
Yeah,
and then James Bond body slams a guy.
Yeah, I would say don't like this movie, but
Yeah.
much like Ghost Rider, every 30 minutes maybe,
Yeah.
as soon as I'm checking out, Josh shows up and goes, "Hold on, watch me tear apart this car," and I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Then I wrote down Indiana Jones mode because I think they're just kind of around Egypt, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is kind of Indiana Jones mode.
Yeah.
Then I wrote down Dumb Jaws kills himself. Spoilers, he doesn't. He just
True.
knocks over some shit on top of him. And then James Bond says something racist. Specifically, he says, huh, Egyptian buildermanship or something like that. Egyptian craftsmanship or something like that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool of him to do.
Then Dumb Jaws lives, like I said. Then they're on the river, which I don't remember.
Dumb Jaws lives and starts tearing apart their car with his bare hands.
Dang, what does on the river mean? Do you remember being on the river? They're like floating on the river for a while.
Yeah, they get on a boat.
They got on a boat.
He goes, they said we're overdressed, but they'll give us a ride.
Yeah. Once I finish this list, we can go back to yours and see if there's shit we missed.
Okay, cool.
James tries to sex a lady, but then she mists him. Remember when he gets misted?
No.
Yeah, she shoots some shit in his face. She's like Triple X is like her name or something.
It sure is.
Then
yeah.
he wakes up, and the Russians are there, and they're like, Mr. Bond, Triple X was able to find out the microfilm. And Bond is like, nah, I'm too smart for that shit. This gives us everything except for what we want to know. Fuck off. Then they're fighting on a train, but it's not like From Russia with Love. Sad face. Mr. Aquarium is what I was calling Mr. Sardonicus or whatever.
Love
That's
it better.
because he's, yeah,
Mr. Sardonicus.
whatever his name is.
Stromberg, but I like Mr. Aquarium way better.
Because he's got all those aquariums everywhere.
Yeah, also, go on.
I just wrote down Mr. Aquarium. It doesn't say anything else. So anyway,
That's his name now, yeah.
Bond and girl go on a sub date. Then I wrote down more other sub. Then I wrote down big sub inside, a lot like Dr. Evil's base. Because all
Very
those
true.
people run around in the suits, yeah.
Very true.
I wrote down piss yellow globe.
Very true, yeah.
And then I wrote down, this is a quote, someone said, not worth mass murder, but I don't know what they said it about. I should have wrote more down. Then I wrote down, guy falls down some stairs. I don't know if you remember that, but a guy falls down the stairs.
I don't.
Then James Bond is trying to disarm a bomb or something. And then James Bond comes into a room, and Mr. Aquarium's sitting at a table, and James Bond just straight up shoots him like 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking takes him down. Just in the most ruthless way I've ever seen
Love it.
someone take down a
Yeah.
villain. It's like, there's no fight, there's no nothing. He just like is talking to him for a little bit. And then Mr. Aquarium says something like, well, anyways, I guess I'll have, and like, bop, 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 bop. And then he goes on.
Yeah, he shoots a man sitting in a chair.
Yes, absolutely.
It's so brutal.
So disrespectful.
Yeah.
Jaws is back, I wrote down.
He sure is.
And then Jaws gets picked up by a giant, the Claw.
Why vote for the most disrespectful part of this movie? Yeah.
And James Bond says, "How's that grab you?" And then I wrote down Jaws gets eaten by Jaws because Jaws eats a shark.
Jaws, yeah.
He eats a fucking shark. And then I wrote James Bond gets caught having sex. So yeah, that's The Spy Who Loved Me. F, I guess.
Let's say we'll go through
Let's see
my
what you
list.
got. Yeah.
I wrote down Agent Triple X. She's humping some guy and he's got to go, and he goes, and then M gets a call. He goes, "Where's James Bond?" And Moneypenny goes, "Oh, he's in the place where that bitch was that we just saw." He goes, "Tell him to pull out immediately." And a car cuts to him fucking. And it's like, gross. The ticker tape comes out of his watch. He puts on a Ronald McDonald outfit. He gets out of there. I don't remember what it was last week, but we agreed that was the worst James Bond song, worst song I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, what was it? What was last week's movie? What was it? Was it the Golden Gun one? The man with the Golden Gun?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like he shoots to thrill. He aims his gun and he aims it to kill.
Yeah.
The man with the... I'm already rating a better song. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this one's worse, I would say.
How does it go?
I don't fucking know.
Huh.
I just remember being like, this is atrocious. And the intro, like the
brutally
visualizer
bad,
of it, horrific. There's a lot of him jumping on a trampoline in silhouette, and it looks horrible. And
like for the last 4 movies, I genuinely can't wrap my head around how they thought, like, let's make another one. Except for, I guess, it made a bunch of money. But if you were just going off of, like, the movie that was actually made, it's like, this one specifically... It's in Saw territory right now where I'm just like, fucking stop, obviously. Please stop.
Yeah, I can't imagine going to a movie theater for 2 hours and watching this movie.
Yeah.
But that intro sequence, there's a lot in movies, like older movies, where, you watch them now in 4K, and that 4K does not do it any favors.
Yeah.
This opening scene is just 100% naked women that you can very clearly see. This movie's like rated PG or some shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, thinking back, like, I'm definitely missing, like, From Russia with Love, Dr. No, Goldfinger, and On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Like, so far, those are, like, the 4 that, like, when I think of James Bond, I'm thinking of those. And then there's just this fucking... so far with this Roger Moore shit.
Yeah, not like it as much as I hoped I would. And then...
No, I thought you were talking about campy and stuff, and, like, I was like, oh, man, it's going to be, like, fun. And it's like,
yeah,
no.
that's what I thought. It's just not.
No, it's just this boring white guy having sex with women. And, like, there was something kind of... Like, I know you're probably going to disagree with me, but there was, like, something kind of charming when it was Sean Connery, probably because it just felt like James Bond. But when Roger Moore's doing it, I'm like, how? How are you doing this? How do so many people want to sleep with you? You have no magnetism or charisma.
Yeah, especially since I think he sleeps with, like, 4 times as many people.
Yeah.
Because, like, when he's in Egypt in this, and he's just, like, riding a horse or a camel or whatever, and he meets that guy in the tent, and the dude's like, hey, stay the night. And he's like, I should. And he goes, here's a lady. And he's like, yeah, I'll stay the night. Yeah. It goes
that happens every time.
Scene...
It's always like, nah, I shouldn't. They're like, there's a woman. He's like, yeah, well, I guess I will.
Yeah. He goes there, fucks that lady. That's all that scene is for.
Yeah.
Next scene, immediately, he's in some building there to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And a woman comes out and goes, Mr. Aquarium's going to be late. And he goes, damn. And she goes, you want to fuck?
Yeah.
And then she gets shot in the back, and he goes, well, I guess I got to go somewhere else. That's 2 scenes in a row that are only there so that he can fuck or almost fuck a lady.
Yeah, and at least with Sean Connery, it's like, okay, hairy, tan, he's kind of got bad boy energy. You're looking at him, and you're like, you seem like a piece of shit, but I kind of want to fuck you, Whereas with Roger Moore, I'm like, who are you? You look like the Prime Minister of the UK or something. Like, you're not handsome.
Yeah, and when these movies get almost campy, like when he runs over a bunch of alligators, or that guy turns into a balloon, or that ticker tape comes out of his watch, or Jaws bites a lock off a door,
is so cool.
I'm like, hell yeah, Jaws is the only good part of this movie, and it's one of the best things. He's one of the best things I've seen in any James Bond movie, and I'm so sad that he's in this one. I know they bring him back, thank God, but... Anyway, Mr. Aquarium's in his weird base. And
you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die.
It's so good. It's so good. And
Goldfinger.
Oh, God
yeah.
damn.
Anyways, continue.
Those 2 nerds come up, and he goes, hey, guys, thanks for making the shit with the bombs where you can figure out where the submarines are going or whatever.
I think at one point we were ranking actively as the episodes go on, but at the very end we'll do a rank, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, continue.
hey, send both of you guys $10 million each to your Swiss bank accounts. Get the fuck out of here. But before you do, somebody's trying to sell the microfilm to a different country. That's fucked up. Girlfriend, lady sitting at the other end of this far table, get out of here. I gotta talk to these nerds. She gets into the elevator. He pushes a button, goes, it was her. She's gonna get eaten by a shark. And then she gets eaten by a shark, and those nerds go, and he goes, bye-bye, get out of here. And they go, and they get in a helicopter, and they go, whew, and then they high-five, and then he blows up the helicopter. And he goes, reverse, that's $20 million. And then his base comes out of the sea, and it's the exact same one that was in, like, 6 movies ago. Same, like, water.
Looks like it's gonna terraform. It looks like I will find him.
Yeah, it looks like Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And it's just weird. And then I have no other notes from then on.
Really, you have nothing?
Until he picks up Jaws with the magnet, and it's very disrespectful.
Great. So I'm giving it an F.
I'm gonna give this one a D minus
Just because you're afraid to be mad, mean to
like
Jaws.
Jaws, yeah.
Okay, all right. Saw 7. You know what I was thinking about the whole time you were talking instead of thinking about James Bond? I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
Wasn't trying to disrespect you. It's just. Anyways, Saw 7. I was just thinking about how this Halloween we decided that we're going to be doing a Child's Play out of respect for Brad Dourif and the fact that you've never seen these films, other than the Seed of Chucky and Bride of Chucky one.
Not true at all. I've told you multiple times. I have seen all of them.
Oh my gosh. Whatever. So apparently my brain don't work. But that's funny because, we're going to be we're going to watch that for Halloween in October. Probably before we finish the Saw reviews. We'll have to put that.
That's such a bummer to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Saw 7.
Saw 7.
3D. The
3D.
final chapter. This movie has 3 names. Directed, Kevin Grutter. Written, Patrick Melton, Marcus Dunstan. Starring, who cares? Cinematography, Brian Gedge. Budget, $17 million. Chris, what's the box office?
I'm looking at it. 136.
Yeah.
Sorry. I looked it up. My bad.
That's okay. So.
Has a 9% on Rotten Tomato, and that's generous. This is, again, like every week, I know I probably sound like the most pretentious man in the world, but it's just one of the worst movies I've ever seen, absolutely. No question. It's just one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, this one was so bad that they didn't make another one for 7 years.
Really? So the next one came out in
2017.
Is the next one Jigsaw is the next one?
Yeah. Which I think makes us well within our right. Of course, if we were watching all the Rocky movies, we could go, man, we don't have to watch Creed. They're technically sequels, but also at the same time, it's a new era, baby.
Yeah.
This movie started, title card popped up, a film by James Wan, and I was like, oh, fuck. They got my boy back? And then 90 seconds passed, and I went, oh, no, I'm accidentally watching Saw 1. And I was so upset. And then the rest of this movie happened. At the beginning, they're in that glass box, right?
I think it's just the building, but yeah.
No, the 2 guys and the lady.
Yeah, I think it's just like a building.
It's a glass box on the street, like in front of a building, I guess.
I think it's like just like the vestibule of a building, but yeah. I thought it was part of the architecture. I thought it was like a room, like a.
Yeah, but there's
like there would be like
mannequins
in there or something. Yeah,
but it's
not. It's a death machine instead.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. It might just be a glass box.
I
think we're splitting hairs? Is that what you're saying or what?
I would say the things that you see a mannequin in, if you went, hey, those things in that glass box, I wouldn't go, well,
it's part of
glass
the
box.
architecture.
I think it's more part of the architecture.
Yeah.
So these 3 are in the architecture of this building. How do you get the little guy in there?
What little guy, Billy?
The little guy that comes out on the tricycle.
Is it Billy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who's doing that? How are they doing that? These are the questions I want answers to.
Yeah.
You don't got to tell me how so and so kidnapped so and so and then became the doctor for forever. Tell me how you're getting this animatronic puppet to burst in at the right moment and talk to these people.
Yeah. I hate this movie.
Yeah, the dirt worst.
So this is one of the most egregious traps, in my opinion. This one really,
it's weird.
Gets my goat because it's like, I'm sorry. I actually might have a stroke. The list of things that can get you put into a saw trap ranges from you experienced a trial where your son was killed by a drunk driver, and now you have to have empathy and like save these people from the court trial, which is crazy, to you killed people in a building for the sake of like a development land property deal that's evil, you're evil, to you're addicted to drugs, to
You smoke cigarettes.
you own or whatever, you're a higher up at an insurance company that intentionally finds any reason they can to not insure sick people because evil, to you're fucking two guys at the same time. Like, it's just like the fucking spread is insane.
Yeah.
Like, the spread of what could get you in a saw trap. And I get it. I get that, like, semantics and who gives a fuck it's Saw, but it's like, if there could just be, like, a consistency of, like, what gets you put in a saw trap, that would, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, because, like, it starts and I'm like, it's just that conflict of, like, is Tobin Bell supposed to be, like, a guy I'm rooting for? Or is he supposed to be just pure evil? Or should I be paying more attention to, like, who is technically starting the game at any given time? Like, that's probably a bit of it, but also it's like, well, I don't even give a fuck about that. Stop doing that. Just, like, I'm not, okay. And it's like...
Also, I feel like this one is the only opening trap that never comes back later in the movie.
Yeah. And I gotta say also, like, killing him, like, a movie and a half in or whatever they did, and, like, him having cancer, like...
Bad idea.
I don't...
Bad idea. They... Like, I remember the guy with his eyes were shut, and then the other guy's mouth was shut. Like,
Yeah.
sewed shut, and then, like, later the guy with the sewed shut mouth comes back because he's, like, doing the whatever.
Sure.
What you're saying with the beginning of this one, this beginning trap, is this Hoffman? Is this
His ex-wife?
the Princess Bride? Is this Jill? Who's doing this trap?
Yeah.
Is this just a leftover jigsaw?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
And
never
we
know.
never know because it
Personally.
doesn't come back. Because this one is just a setup for 3D, I guess. But I can't remember anything in this scene that felt 3D.
Actually, I think I took notes on this thing.
That was also something that was kept getting me. Every time they would do it, anytime something would fling at the screen, I would go, oh, right, this movie's supposed to be in 3D.
Yeah. Saw 3D, the final chapter. Love triangle. This is the first one I have. I said, don't understand the trap.
Yeah.
I don't understand the trap. So they're on either end, the men who have been cuckolded, and then the woman who's done the cucking or whatever is the one who's fucked around on them is up top, and there's a saw underneath her if they stay totally neutral, and she'll fall and get sawed, or they can push the saw into each other.
There is, so say it's me and you,
Yeah.
right? We're the cucks.
Yeah,
Lady's the lamp right there.
yeah,
In front of me, big saw.
yeah.
In front of you,
Big
big
saw.
saw. Right here on a stick,
Biggest saw.
biggest saw.
Yeah,
If I push this way, that saw goes this way towards you and away from her, but the saw that's right in front of you starts going into you. And so if you push towards me, my saw starts going into me, but that saw goes away from her still.
sure.
Ta-da! A lesson is learned.
I don't want to split hairs and stuff, but like, what? Why not just make it be that the big saw moves and then it can cut the other person if you know, like, why?
Great point.
Why all the saws? And again, it's another one of those things of just like, who put this together, right? You just listed off like 9 people that could do it, and it's like, okay, so once you get past that hump of who the fuck did this, again, not trying to split hairs, but like, how the fuck? How did they transport all this stuff with nobody noticing? It's in a very public location.
Yeah, how they get them into the architecture.
Yes,
It's crazy.
it's crazy. It's madness.
Also, I love that they're like, get us out of here. One lady has a briefcase and she's like, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Well, I guess. And then everyone's just like, well, I guess we'll record this on our flip phones.
Yeah. So, substantial downgrade of practical effects also, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't
yeah.
look good at all. I wrote down talk show, worst dialogue I've ever heard. Confirms that Jigsaw's right, because this guy gets this new lease on life thing. So they're bringing that back in a sense because he's all like, I felt powerful because I saved myself from the Jigsaw trap and stuff.
I love that they are, but they also aren't, because he obviously has never gone through a Jigsaw trap. That's a big twist. He's lying.
Yeah. Which is a decent twist for the traps. To make the guy who lies and said that he survived your traps go through the traps. That's good.
That's great.
That's great.
Especially his own trap that he made up at the end.
Yeah, perfect. Love it.
But I love
Actually, really love that. But this movie's bad. But like, I love that idea. That's wonderful. Fantastic.
I love when they're at that little like support group thing.
Yeah.
And that one woman's like, my husband was beating me senseless, and then we were in a saw trap together, and he died, and I've never felt more free. And that lady from, I want to say the last movie, who cut her arm off, goes, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
He needed to die for you to leave him.
Yeah.
You know the best thing that happened to me? I get free handicap parking at the fucking mall. It's like, that's pretty good. And then for some reason, Dr. Gordon from the first movie is sitting in a chair 100 feet away from everybody else, and no one notices. And goes, oh, we're all so glad to be part of your promotional DVD. It's like, oh, he's a bad guy. No one talks like that. No one acts like that. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Oh, they backed up the money truck. That's why. That's why Dr. Gordon's back.
I also wrote down, maybe you can remember this, I wrote down most ridiculous nightmare I've ever seen.
Or her getting hit by the train thing?
Oh, yeah, because she hallucinates that Hoffman kills her with an elaborate fucking train car that explodes her thing.
Also, oh my god, I love, right at the beginning of this, after the glass structure trap, it cuts back to the end of the last movie. Hoffman's face is all fucked up from the trap. And he goes, and he's trying to get out of that room, and he leaves, and he walks right past Jill, who's just hiding behind two coats.
Yeah.
And it's like the laziest shot I've ever seen. It's like, how do we show that Jill's hiding from him while also showing him leaving the room?
Yeah.
We don't want to have to cut between a bunch of stuff, so let's just pretend he doesn't see her sitting basically in the room, in the center of the room, but there's just two coats on the other side of her. And she's literally lit from the bottom. And she's like, there's a spotlight on her. She's just going, and he just walks straight by her.
Yeah.
And then Jill immediately goes to the police.
Okay.
This says, male detective, worst actor I think we've seen in any of these movies.
Okay, don't remember, but continue.
But she goes, I want full immunity and full protection and yada yada. And he goes, I don't know. You got to prove to me that you got something big. And she goes, I'll only give it to you if you promise me all of these things, because I'm going to tell you. And she tells him literally, she goes, that Detective Mark Hoffman is the one who's doing all of this now. Now, I'll give you the information. It's like, Jill, you just gave him all of the information.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Lincoln Park's in a trap where he's super glued to a chair, and his buddies are underneath the wheels, and he has to pull a lever, which involves him like unsupergluing his back to the thing. And if he doesn't, the car's gonna fall on his buddies and smash their heads like watermelons.
This is like, I hate when people are like, oh, that movie's just torture porn. Like, after I think Hostel came out, people started using the word torture porn for movies.
Yeah.
And I think it's usually used pretty poorly and like not in a great context, except for when it comes to Saw, when it comes to this scene specifically.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing clever or fun about this trap.
Yeah, what is it even? It's just there.
It's just there. It's just the car falls.
He's racist or something, right?
Him and all of his
They're
friends are
skinheads.
racists. Yes, I do love Great Jigsaw line. You will learn that we are all the same color on the inside.
Yeah.
And then it cues some butt rock while he's trying to reach for
How
something.
cool if it was a Linkin Park song.
It would have been so sick. But he's going, bah, 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 and he's trying to rip his back off the seat. He's going, ah! And the trap is, when the timer goes off, the car that is just revving like crazy, it falls, runs over that lady, splits her into a million pieces. It's chained to a guy behind the car, rips off his jaw and arms, and then runs through another guy. Mm-hmm. Just in one go. And it's like, that's not a trap, that's just two people set up in front of a car. Like, that's stupid.
The traps really do range.
Just grotesque. That's all it is. It's not like
really
fun
dumb
or
to dumb
inventive.
to like,
it's just dumb.
Yeah. Then the next thing I wrote down, because I only have two more notes. The next one is lied about trap, which is because we find out the survivor guy lied about the trap.
Also, I love when he's in the support group and everyone's yelling, and he goes, "Hey, you know what I think will help you guys? Check out my tits." And he takes off his shirt and goes, "Look at my scars." Yeah. And everyone's like, "Okay." He goes, "And you know what else will really help me? Look at my hot ass wife. I got a hot ass wife. You guys will get it. You'll be fine."
Yeah, and this is another movie where I'll say, you mentioned already that the doctor has also been working for Jigsaw, so it's like in the chronology of things, it's like, okay, so you find out that, like, oh, Jill was helping him this whole time, right? Then you find out that, like, Hoffman's been helping him this whole time. So you get all these flashbacks to, like, you got the flashbacks with Jill doing shit that you thought was Jigsaw, but now it's really Jill. And you got the flashbacks to, like, Hoffman doing shit that you thought was maybe Jill, but it was actually him.
Don't forget Amanda.
You know, yeah, Amanda. And then now you also have this thing of, like, oh, yeah, but all the way back, Jigsaw's also been having this Dr. Princess Bride do shit while all that other shit's happening, too. And again, the other thing just comes back to, like, my man finds out that he's terminally ill with cancer, sets up all these traps, and then somehow recruits a half dozen bozos to also be doing his bidding. You know, that's... What?
Plus, there's 2 more bozos that are those pig masks at the end, remember?
Yeah, and they're working for the doctor. They grabbed Hoffman, didn't they?
Yes, because Jigsaw tells Gordon before he dies, he goes, hey, if Hoffman goes after Jill, you kill him, okay?
Yeah. So is the next movie going to be Hoffman in the trap? Or do you think because there's a 7-year gap, they couldn't get him back and that's just like a loose end cliffhanger?
This is supposed to just be the last one, I think. So I don't think he's going to be back in the next one.
So anyways, the last thing I wrote down, though, before that was Hoffman Joker pilled. Because there's all this shit going on where, like, the cops are after Hoffman and they're talking to Hoffman.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, he'll just be like, they'll be like, where you at, Hoffman? And he'll just be like, oh, something tells me I don't think you'll be leaving this room. And then, like, machine guns go and kill, like, 9 cops. There's crazy stuff happens. Like, he's the Riddler or something. Like, the Batman villain. It's crazy.
And it's insane because it's Hoffman.
Yeah.
Like, the woman at the police station who's, like, on the computer the whole time. Yeah. Because we just got an MPEG file from... Nobody says that. We just got an MPEG file from Hoffman, and it's this and that, and... Oh, I wrote it down, and it goes...
We got a JP3.
She goes, it depends on how many proxy servers he used. Hey, you know how many proxy servers he used? 0. It's fucking Hoffman. Look at the man. This man does not know how to use a computer.
That's funny. Anything else I should know about the movie or should be said?
When you find out that he lied about it, when it shows him at the bar being like, someone could make a big chunk of change lying about that, he just has a wig on to make his hair look longer, and it just looks like an SNL skit. This whole movie looks like an SNL skit about Saw. And then, yeah, Bookman's going through all the traps trying to save his team. He doesn't do it ever. He saves nobody. His wife gets locked up into a big rocket ship that gets lit on fire, and she dies. And is Hoffman doing these traps? Or is Gordon... No, it's Hoffman, I guess. And then Hoffman's trying to kill Jill the whole time. Every time I see Hoffman's face, I'm like, I don't fucking care. Stop showing me Hoffman. I don't want him in these movies anymore. And then it turns out, blah, 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 it's Gordon. But, before that, we finally get to see the bear trap work. Where it rips What's-Her-Face's face open?
Don't remember.
Well, they put it on Jill. Jigsaw's wife.
And she gets killed?
She gets killed.
Okay.
And then Hoffman leaves, and he runs into Gordon, who is with 2 other pig-masked people. Who are they? We'll find out in the next movie. And then Gordon brings him to the bathroom from Saw 1 and locks him up. He's like, you gotta be kidding me. Adam's in there. He's all dead. Like, well, you gotta be kidding me. And then Gordon thinks about cutting his foot off with the saw. And Hoffman goes for the saw. And Gordon picks it up and goes, and throws it at us. And we go, whoa, because it's in 3D. And then he says, game over. And he shuts the door. And it's over. That's...
Yeah, it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Give this my F.
Yeah. Well. I'm going to say, next episode, let's keep it a surprise for the listener. We'll discuss after podcast is over.
Okay.
Unless you want to announce yours. I can keep mine secret.
Why do you want to keep it secret?
We'll discuss it after the podcast.
Okay, fine. Be spooky. Be mysterious about it.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween, everyone, I guess.
Anything else you want to say?
I got nothing for you.
Yeah, me neither, dude. That is that Mattress Man. If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,